Only inhumane God on this.
All right.
Oh, and I feel squeaking.
All right, you can be seated. All right, for the record, the jury's with us once again. Mr. Lynch, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. So before we broke, the question was, where was Leslie Coda when she told you, "I love you, baby"? In the front seat, in the back seat, outside the car? Where was she?
She was outside the car.
She was outside the car. Okay. And how was it that she was outside the car?
When I couldn't grab Danny, I went and grabbed her, and I just tried keeping her because Danny was still conscious, and Leslie was like going in and out.
So you go to the car and you see Leslie. She's going in and out of consciousness in the front seat. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. And then after that, you go to find Danny. Is that right?
Yes.
And you see Danny and you try to get her into the car and you can't?
Yep.
What did you do to try to get her into the car that prohibited you from getting her in the car?
I tried picking her up and I couldn't.
Couldn't lift her up?
Nope.
Okay. And I think you just said that Leslie was outside the car, right?
After I put her in the back seat, I couldn't get Danny up, and I grabbed Leslie out of the back seat and just had her in my arms.
Okay. So you're telling me that you went to the car, you got Leslie out of the front seat, put her in the back seat, right?
That's what I said.
Tried to get Danielle in the car, couldn't.
That's what I said.
Went back to the car with Leslie in the back seat, right?
That's what I just said.
And then took her out of the car, right?
I was waiting for the ambulance.
Okay. Well, I thought you were going to take her to the
I
hospital.
was trying, but I couldn't get Danny in the car. I just said that.
Okay. So you took her out of the car after you tried to get Danny in the car. And
Objection, asked and answered.
were you
Okay, overruled. I'll allow it.
Were you holding her outside the car then, in your arms?
Yep.
Okay. And that's when she told you, "I love you, baby."
Yep.
Okay. So that sounds like a lot of time went by from the time that you got to the car and the time that she said to you, "I love you, baby." Right?
If you say so.
Well, how much time? I wasn't there.
I'm not a time specialist. I don't know.
Well, 10 minutes?
How long did it take for the cops and ambulance to get there?
I don't know. Is that when you stopped talking to her, or is that right when she said to you, "I love you, baby"?
I wasn't keeping track of time.
You weren't keeping track, but you do know that it took you time to get from inside your apartment while you were getting your suit, shoes, and socks on, down to the car, right?
That was less than a minute, dude.
Okay. And then to get to Leslie took some time, and then you get to Leslie and you get her into the back seat. You don't remember moving the car, right?
That's what I
Asked
said.
and answered.
Overruled.
You don't remember moving the car, right?
That's what I said.
Okay. And then you get her into the back seat. Then you go around to the other side. You try to get Danny into the back seat, and you can't. More time, right?
If you say so.
Well, then I've got the right. I'm just trying to have you tell me if we can figure out a timeline between the time that you heard the shots and she ultimately said, "I love you, baby," after you took her out of the car. You can't give us any idea how long it was?
That was just a shooting. What do you want me to do? Keep track of time?
Okay. So sounds like the answer is you can't give me any idea. So maybe it was 10 or 15 minutes? Is that possible?
Objection, argumentative and asked and answered.
Asked and answered, granted.
Okay. So you've got her in your arms and she says, "I love you, baby," and that's when the ambulance arrives, right?
Moments after.
Pardon me?
Moments after.
Okay. But she was found in the back seat of the car with her feet up on the front seat.
Was she? I can't recall. I thought I had her outside the car.
So you don't remember putting her back in the car, is that right?
I mean, I was going through a traumatic event. What do you want me to do, man?
I want you to answer the question.
Well,
It was a very simple one. Do you remember putting her back in the car and putting her feet up on the front seat? Yes or no?
don't recall.
Okay, thank you. Earlier, Mr. Jensvold asked you, so it looks like you're going through all those, reinterpreting all of those messages, and you really didn't have any problem at all remembering what all of those messages meant. did
Objection,
you?
leading and asked and answered.
Sustained.
When you went through the messages, you indicated that you were asking your friend Jose to go out and find Terrence, remember?
That's what the text messages said.
Okay. Because you were going to do him harm, right?
I mean, what do you take from that?
Well, I think that the answer is yes, because you said you might go to jail, you might get arrested. But I want to figure out what you and Jose were planning on doing. Were you planning on torturing Terrence?
How would you figure that?
I'm asking you, sir. Did you talk about torturing Terrence if you found him?
That wasn't in the text messages.
Sir, I didn't ask you about what was in the text message. Were you planning on torturing Terrence if you found him?
Not necessarily.
Okay. So you weren't planning on, quote, fucking him up, end quote?
If that's what the text messages said.
Okay. Were you planning on pulling his teeth?
Where did you get that from?
Yes or no?
I don't recall ever saying that.
Okay. Or stabbing him?
Why would I do that?
Killing him in front of his mother? Did you ever say that?
Don't recall saying that.
Right. Did you, when you were working on figuring out who did this with Jose, did you ever contact your friends in the cartel to find out where they may have been when
Nope.
Leslie was shot?
Nope.
Nope. None of them, right?
Why would I do that?
Pardon me?
Why would I do that?
The answer is no, you didn't, right?
Nope.
Nowhere in those text messages is there any reference to, hey, let's go to the Circle K and get surveillance video and help the police out. Isn't that right?
I mean, that was a conversation between us when we were in person.
I didn't ask you, but I will. It's not in your text messages, right?
I was at Jose Nunez's house.
There's nothing in your text messages that says you and Jose were going to go out to the Circle K to get surveillance video to help the police find this person. Isn't that true?
I don't recall.
Okay. You got that memory problem again.
Objection, argumentative.
Sustained.
You were asked by Mr. Jensvold about your mental health and all of the problems that you've had, all of the diagnoses, depression. Am I right?
Yep.
Anxiety. True? Get one? Another one?
Can I have a second to answer the question?
Sure, go ahead.
Yep.
Okay. And then also PTSD. Is that right?
Yep.
These are all mental health diagnoses that you had prior to the shooting. Isn't that true?
No.
Which ones didn't you have prior to the shooting?
I don't recall. I don't know.
You suffered from severe depression, didn't you?
Where'd you get that from?
Sir, I asked the questions, you give the answers. You suffered from severe depression, right?
Don't recall.
You don't remember being treated for severe depression beforehand?
I just went to rehab for doing drugs.
Just for drugs? Okay. How about anxiety? Do you remember being put into a mental hospital for anxiety?
No.
Being put into a mental hospital for depression?
They put me in I don't know what it was called, but I was arrested.
Okay.
And the Pine Island County Sheriffs took me to someplace, and I got out next morning.
Okay. But you were in that someplace, not for drug rehab. You were in that someplace for mental health problems, weren't you?
Whoever called it in, called it in. I don't know. I don't know why they came and picked me up.
You don't know that they picked you up because they thought you were going to be you would cause harm to others or to yourself? That's why they put you in against your will?
They released me the next morning, so that wasn't proven.
Didn't ask you whether they released you the next morning. You were put into a mental health facility for treatment for mental health well in advance of the shooting of Leslie Coda and Danielle Murrieta, weren't you?
I was put in, but not for that.
Okay. You got out early.
Got out at 6 a.m. right when they opened.
And you got out early when you went to the Prescott drug place, right? You checked yourself out.
I sure did check myself out.
Yeah. I'm not sure that I understood your answer. You are taking responsibility for Leslie getting shot?
Why would I take responsibility?
Pardon me?
Why would I take responsibility?
So the answer is no, you don't take any responsibility.
I was the intended target.
Pardon me?
I was the intended target.
Okay. So you don't think that you have any responsibility for her being in your car at the time that she was shot dead that night?
I mean, if it wasn't for the shooter, I mean, she'd still be here, right? They would still be here.
She wasn't pregnant, was she?
That came out after.
I understand. But you learned that she wasn't pregnant.
That
right?
came out after.
It came out after. And before that, you thought she was pregnant, didn't you?
We both did.
Okay. And Leslie knew exactly the activities that you were involved in, the human smuggling, didn't she?
She was my significant other.
So the answer is yes, she did. Right?
She lived with me, so yes.
Okay. And then all of a sudden, she says she's pregnant, right?
I mean, it just happened.
And then she's dead.
Sadly.
Just happened, right?
If it wasn't because of your defendant, that wouldn't be the issue.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Do any of the jurors have a question for this witness? All right. Amy, the attorneys can approach. All right, I'm going to ask you some questions from the jurors. If you can answer, please tell us. And the first one I've marked as number 53. What exact mods did your 300 have that it needed to be warmed up?
It was fully built, so it had cams, long tube headers, open exhaust, cold air intake. That was a lot. It was on nitrous. I mean, it was fully built. Spent quite a bit of money on it.
That was 53A, this one's 53B. Why did you allow the girls to go down and warm up the car knowing you were doing human smuggling?
I mean, we never thought this would happen.
All right, Mr. Lynch, any follow-up?
You said it was fully built. You said it was fully built and you spent quite a lot of money on it. How much money did you spend on it?
Can't recall.
Nothing further.
All right, Mr. Jensvold?
No questions, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, this one I've marked as question 54. Did any of the people you worked for know where you lived? Also, did they know you had family involved with law enforcement?
I was estranged from my own family. So I really wasn't around them, wasn't involved with them at the time for a while, actually. And that was that. No one knew where I lived. I lived a pretty private life. Well, I thought I did. That's that.
Mr. Lynch?
Did you just say I lived a private life?
I mean, we kept our address away from people. Only certain people knew.
I asked, did you just say we lived a private life?
We did.
You thought you lived a private life, human smuggling, and hiring drivers to human smuggle for you?
That's just the business I was in. That's separate from lives. I'd separate business from our lives.
Well, you didn't separate Leslie Coda from your business life. You already said she knew all about it. She was your significant other, your important person, right?
I mean, she was never involved, but I personally was the one that was doing it, not her.
So you think that being involved in human smuggling with the cartel allows you to say here today at this trial, at this time, that you lived a private life?
No one knew my address. I just said that.
Nothing further.
Mr. Jensvold?
Dominic, when you sent those messages to Jose about questioning whether he gave someone your address, who was it?
What do you mean?
Who were you concerned had your address before the shooting when you sent those messages to Jose?
Well, I found out I had a call, I can't remember if it was after or before. I think it was before the shooting. Someone said that mine and Leslie's, Tyler and Kyle's address was surfacing and people were finding out where I lived.
Okay, but you remember the messages that mentioned the $14,000 that Jose sent to you right before the 911 call, right before the murders, right?
Objection outside of the scope of the juror's question.
Sustained.
Well, Judge, the question is about who knew the
Speaking
address.
objection now, Judge.
Go ahead and approach. Yes, objection remains sustained. Go ahead, Mr. Jensvold.
Let me rephrase the question. Do you remember the messages that you sent to Jose about accusing him essentially of giving someone your address?
Believe so. I really can't remember. I remember a little bit of it, but nothing crazy about it.
Okay. So you don't know who you were referring to about who might have your address when you were...
Asked and answered.
Overruled.
What was the question?
You don't know who it was specifically that you were concerned about that might have your address, and that's why you sent that message to Jose.
Correct.
Sorry.
All right. The last question I have is marked as number 55. Did any of the people you worked for know you owed money to people that were doing your work?
I necessarily didn't really owe money. I owed dude $500, and we were gonna take care of it, but some other stuff came up, and I went in. We were laying low because I found that there was a GPS on my truck from the cops.
All right, Mr. Lynch?
That's not the question that was asked, sir.
I answered the question.
The question was, did anyone that you worked for know that you owed money to the people who were working for you? Did they or didn't they? You said, well, I really didn't owe anybody money. But we know from prior testimony that you did owe a lot of people money. So did the people that you worked for know that you owed people that worked for you money on April 24th, 2022?
And I answered your question. I told you I did not owe anybody else. I owed dude $500, and that was that. And they knew about it, and we were going to take care of it, and that was that.
So you only owed one person $500? Is that what you're saying here today?
Yes,
Under oath?
your client.
Under oath, that's it, just $500 to Terrence. What about Jose Nunez and the money you owed him?
That was between us. That was our friendship, and we didn't let money get in between our friendship.
You owed Jose Nunez thousands of dollars.
No, I didn't.
Okay. How much do you think you owed him as part of your friendship?
Max. I mean, I borrowed some money from him because we got away for me and Leslie disappeared.
I didn't ask you any of that. How much money did you owe Jose Nunez?
Max $1,500.
Max $1,500. So that's not 500. That's 1,500 you're claiming, right?
To Jose Nunez.
If the records showed communication by you and others that you owed Jose Nunez thousands of dollars, those records would be wrong? Is that what you're saying?
Where'd you get the records from?
If a detective testified that looking through all of the information that he had...
Objection, this is beyond the scope.
No, it's not.
I'll allow it.
If a detective
Overruled.
testified that after considering all the pieces of the puzzle and information that came in, that you owed Jose Nunez thousands of dollars, that would be incorrect?
I mean, we paid. We went to Mexico together and we got it paid.
So you didn't owe him thousands of dollars because you paid, and you went to Mexico with him together?
Yep.
So it sounds like if a detective testified that the investigation showed that you owed Jose Nunez thousands of dollars, that detective would have been wrong.
Objection
No.
asked and answered.
Sustained.
So we got $1,500 to Jose Nunez. You're admitting $500 to Terrence. Who else did you owe money to that worked for you?
No one, like I said.
Okay, so let's get back to the original question that a juror asked. Did the people that you worked for know that you owed Jose Nunez at least $1,500?
Objection asked and answered, and that's not the original question.
The original question was, did the people that
Hold
you
on.
worked for know that you owed...
Mr. Lynch, let me rule on that objection, and I need you to let me rule.
Please.
All right, it's overruled. I'll allow the question.
So the original question was, did the people that you worked for...
Didn't I just answer that? I just told
Did they
you.
know, let me finish, did they know that you owed the people who worked for you money? And you started out by saying, I didn't owe anybody any money, which would lead people to believe, well, why would the people who I work for need to know that? Because
Objection argumentative
nobody
leading.
owed.
Sustained.
So did they know that you owed Jose Nunez $1,500?
I answered your question and I said yes.
They did know. Okay. So the people that you work for knew that you owed Jose Nunez $1,500. Did the people that you worked for know that you owed Terrence Santisteven $500?
I answered that. I said that we were going to get it taken care of, but some other stuff came up and I had to go. We had to get out where we were.
So did they know it or not?
I answered your question.
Yes or no? No, you didn't.
I did.
You never did.
Okay.
So maybe you can answer it now. You said yes, that they knew that you owed Jose Nunez $1,500. Did they know that you owed Terrence Santasteven $500?
You keep asking me the same question. I already answered. I said yes.
Okay, so they knew that too. All right. Now, if you owed other people that drove for you money, would they have known that as well?
I didn't owe nobody else. I already told you that.
All right. And now that we know that they knew that you owed people who were working for you money, tell us what the reaction was to that.
That
They didn't
we-
like it, did they?
Assumption, right? That's assumption. That's an
I'm sorry,
assumption.
hold on. What's the objection?
Argumentative.
Sustained.
What was the reaction when they knew that you owed people who were working for you money?
Objection, hearsay, argumentative.
Not asking them to.
I'll allow him to answer what their reaction was.
What was the reaction to the knowledge that people who were working for you were owed money?
Like I said, they said we were going to get it paid.
Okay. They said, we're going to get it paid,
Yeah.
meaning you and other people in the cartel?
I don't know where you're getting this whole thing from, but sure.
Okay. Thank you. No further questions.
All right. So we'll go ahead. Is this is this witness released from subpoena?
No.
All right. Mr. Leos, we'll go ahead and excuse you now, but you are subject to recall. Still applies where you can't talk to anyone regarding the case, except with the attorneys until the trial's over. So we'll excuse you now, sir. Thank you.
If I do get called back, I have to know because I'm going to have an ankle monitor starting on Monday. I got to put my passes a weekend before.
Okay. Thank you. All right. We'll go ahead as well and recess for the evening. And we'll excuse the jurors, let you get some rest. And we'll see you back tomorrow, 9 o'clock. Take care. All right, you can be seated. All right, we'll go ahead and conclude for the evening. Anything we need to immediately cover?
Well, Judge, I think closing on Tuesday is out at this stage, so we're probably closing on Wednesday, it looks like.
Okay?
If that, I don't know.
Well, I guess the question is, do we know if the state is going to have a rebuttal? And if they're going to have a rebuttal, that's obviously going to affect it. But, I mean, it's all academic. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I mean, we want to get it done as quickly as possible. And as long as it's not before Tuesday, I don't think it makes a difference. I think we're going to be done tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Was there anything that we needed to cover this evening at this time?
The only thing that I want to update you on is this issue with the document. I have still been working on it. Should have had somebody else work on it because what I've done is I've taken out of, I have agreed that the emails will not be brought into evidence. So we aren't going to have to worry about the hearsay problem for the emails that are attached to one of the documents. And I endeavored to remove from the documents the words "see attached email" because it doesn't make any sense. I caught most of them, but not all of them. I removed all of the information regarding Zachariah Etzel. I didn't try to further redact it. I just got rid of it. And so it looks now that we are probably in an agreement, once those remaining words exhibit are taken out, that the documents are not otherwise objectionable other than the general objections that Ms. Deacon has that she wants to be heard on. So the problems with the documents that were raised before, I think we've taken care of.
All right.
I'm going to clean them up one more time. I'm going to send them to Ms. Deacon. With her permission, I'd like to copy you on it so you can see exactly what you're going to be asked to look at. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, of course.
Right. So when I send them to her, either later tonight or first thing tomorrow morning, I will copy you on it, and then you'll see the documents that we're gonna have a argument on. But I've done the redactions that she wanted, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay. All right. Let's see if we can address that at 8:45 in the morning,
Okay, that's great.
before the jury comes in. All right?
Thank you.
See everybody back then. Thank you.
Thank you for pen. Your mine, your pen.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, fellas.
Chris, Mike,
Yeah.
Mike.